Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Kiki.
And I'm Matt. Today we're looking at day 2 of our article, Famous Fountains Around the World. So last time we learned about 2 famous fountains in Rome, the Trevi Fountain and the Turtle Fountain, which, both are very beautiful fountains for tourists to go visit. Now, Kiki, have you had any experiences with interesting fountains around the world?
Well, I think with the 2 fountains in Rome, you're really looking at the architecture and those beautiful statues. But sometimes fountain can also just be made up of water, and then they just make it into some interesting water show. So for example, when I was a kid growing up in Singapore, we used to go to Sentosa Island a lot.
Okay.
And they had a fountain show called Songs of the Sea. And that was my favorite show because they had a little monkey in the show called Kiki.
Okay.
And the monkey would be going around, and it's really interesting because the water made up this screen where Kiki would be projected onto the water.
Okay, so it's not a real monkey.
No, it's not a real monkey. It was a talking monkey called Kiki.
Okay.
And they sang.
And a singing monkey called Kiki. All right.
Hello, 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 the monkey we follow.
Wow, okay. So you still remember Kiki the monkey song, and now Kiki the person is singing it.
So what's interesting about fountains is that it's not just about the structure of it or how it's built. Sometimes it could be made into an entertaining show.
That's right. I've also seen in Dubai, in front of their tallest building, they also have a music and water show with the same kind of idea. No monkey, though.
No.
All right, well, let's learn about some more famous fountains around the world when we get into today's article.
In the city of Brussels, Belgium, you can find another widely celebrated fountain, the Mannequin Piss. The fountain depicts a young boy who is relieving himself into a pool below. One story says the fountain honors Duke Godfrey III. In 1142, soldiers placed the 2-year-old Duke in a basket in an oak tree during a battle. From there, he urinated on the enemy troops, who later lost the fight. Therefore, the fountain is said to celebrate that victory.
Welcome to day 2 of our article, Famous Fountains Around the World. In day 1, we've learned about 2 famous fountains in Rome, but today we're going to travel to 2 other countries.
All right, let's get into the article. In the city of Brussels, Belgium, you can find another widely celebrated fountain, the Mannequin Piss. Okay, so I actually have never seen this fountain because I have never been to Brussels, but I do know about this fountain as I've seen many pictures of it. It's kind of a national symbol in Belgium as well.
Oh, well, let's find out what this fountain actually is trying to show. The fountain depicts a young boy who is relieving himself into a pool below. One story says the fountain honors Duke Godfrey III. So a young boy is relieving himself. That means he is doing number 1 into the pool.
Right, he's doing number 1 or he's peeing.
Right. Okay, so this famous fountain is actually showing a little boy
Relieving himself.
going to the bathroom.
Yes.
That's very interesting. And what an interesting way to honor a person. In this case, it honors Duke Godfrey III. So what honor means, in this case, honor the verb, it means that you hold someone in high regards. You respect them a lot. So you want to do something that honors them. You want to do something that shows your respect for this person. And we have an example sentence, which is the movie honors the life of a brave leader.
Right, so that is a strange way to honor someone.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll find out more about it after we go to Hanny.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们在第一天的课程介绍了2个著名的罗马喷泉，下一站来到了比利时的布鲁塞尔市。这边有一座远近驰名的喷泉，就是尿尿小童。这一座喷泉描绘了一名正朝着底下池子尿尿的小男孩。那有一个故事是说啊，这座喷泉是为了纪念获得弗里德3世。那么单字 honor 这个字是当动词，就表示向什么致敬、赞扬、公开表彰。Kiki 老师在讲解时提到 hold somebody or something in high regard， 这是表达对什么十分敬重、重视。另外文中他用到 celebrated， 它是当形容词形容著名的。接话课文中。
Back to our article. In 1142, soldiers placed the 2-year-old Duke in a basket in an oak tree during a battle.
Okay, so the Duke is actually a little boy, and the Duke is the statue.
At this time, he was a little boy. So
Right.
he's a little boy, and there's this battle, and they've placed him in an oak tree. So an oak tree is just a kind of tree. It's a very large tree with its big branches and big leaves, and it actually has acorns that grow on an oak tree, and those are nuts that you can eat. And I always think if I see a cartoon of a squirrel and it's holding a nut, it's almost always an acorn because it's a very cute looking nut that has a sort of hat on it.
Right.
All right, so an example sentence, there is a big oak tree in front of my house.
Okay, so they were trying to honor this Duke when he was a little boy, and they put him in the oak tree. Now, what happened in the oak tree? From there, he urinated on the enemy troops, who later lost the fight. Therefore, the fountain is said to celebrate that victory. Okay, so troops are basically groups of soldiers that come together as a team, and they will go to battle. We have an example sentence. The troops returned home after the battle. Okay, so in this case, they had a battle going on, and they were hiding the Duke in the tree, and he urinated on the enemy.
So he actually helped them win the battle, and that's why they now honor the Duke with this statue of a urinating boy. So it makes sense now that we've heard the story. All right, well, let's go to Hanny.
有一个故事说，尿尿小童那一座喷泉是为了纪念获得弗里德3世。那在1142年，士兵们在一次战役当中，把2岁的公爵放在一棵橡树上的篮子里，他从那边向敌军撒尿，后来敌军就战败了。那因为这样，这座喷泉据说就是为了庆祝那一场胜利。好，来看单字 oak。Oak 表示橡树或者是橡木。Matt 老师这时候提到 acorn，A-C-O-R-N 这个字表示橡实，也就是这一类树木的果实。那下一个单字 troop 名词，它表示军队、部队。当这个意思解释时，常常会用复数型。好，这边还有一个重点是主词 be said to 加原形动词，可以表达据说怎么样。这个句型是用来传达一般人的看法或者是传闻，但是说话者并不明确。那这个句型你也可以改写成 It is said that 主词加动词，我们用 it 当虚主词，而真正的主词是后面的 that 子句。这个句型当中的动词，我们也常常会用 believe 或者是 think 来代替。举例来说 ，A monster is said to live in the lake， 也可以说成 It's said that a monster lives in the lake。据说那一座湖里住着一只怪物。好，那我们解华课文中。
All right, so we've learned about one more interesting statue in the world. And actually, this is a statue that I've seen lots of pictures of, that I've heard about, but I had never known this story as to why they had this kind of statue, because it is kind of an odd statue. You don't see a lot of statues like that. But yeah, now that I know the story to it, it makes it even more interesting.
Right. And yesterday we talked about fountains having different meanings. And sometimes you might see a fountain and it doesn't make sense to you, but after you've learned the story behind it, it means a lot more.
That's right. So we've got one more fountain to look at today, and we'll talk about that after the break.
Of course, Europe isn't the only continent with famous fountains. The Fountain of Wealth in Singapore was once the largest in the world. Unlike the other fountains, this one has a modern design and represents unity and fortune. It is said that if you walk around the miniature fountain at the base of the main fountain 3 times, your wishes will come true. Behind every great fountain is a tale that is waiting to be told. So next time you come across a special fountain, be sure to stop and learn about its story. Who knows what you might discover?
Welcome back. Before the break, we learned about a fountain in Belgium, but now we are going to travel to Asia, to Singapore.
That's right. Of course, Europe isn't the only continent with famous fountains. All right, so Europe is a continent, but there are 6 other continents. And a continent is a continuous stretch of land. And yes, as I said, we have 7 continents in the world. There's Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Africa, North America, and South America. So these are the continents of the world.
And Europe.
And Europe, yes, I missed one. Thank you. And we do have an example sentence. Asia is the biggest continent in the world.
Okay, let's get back to the article. The Fountain of Wealth in Singapore was once the largest in the world. Unlike the other fountains, this one has a modern design and represents unity and fortune. Okay, so unity means to come together as one. So usually when we're talking about unity, we're also talking about people working together, people working hand in hand, and people are peaceful. We want to work together. So we have an example sentence, and it is, the president's speech called for peace and unity.
All right, well now let's go to Hanny.
我们介绍了意大利和比利时的喷泉，不过欧洲并不是唯一拥有著名喷泉的大陆。课文提到说，新加坡的财富之泉曾经是世界上最大的喷泉。这座喷泉的设计很现代，象征着团结和财富。好，来看单字 continent 这个名词就表示洲、大陆。在列举7大洲的时候 ，Matt 老师有提到 Antarctica， 就表示南极洲。好，下一个单字 unity。名词，它表示团结、联合或者是一致。那我们接着回到课文中。
Okay, back to the article. It is said that if you walk around the miniature fountain at the base of the main fountain 3 times, your wishes will come true. All right, so that's a good reason to visit the fountain, just to get your wishes to come true.
Right. Behind every great fountain is a tale that is waiting to be told. So, next time you come across a special fountain, be sure to stop and learn about its story. Who knows what you might discover? All right, so we've learned a little bit about the Fountain of Wealth in Singapore. That is a more modern fountain. We've also learned about 3 very historical fountains.
That's right, yeah, most of those the ones in Europe we talked about were all quite old fountains that were built a long time ago, whereas this one in Singapore is much more recent. But they're all, fountains which have stories to tell, and you can learn about that to make your visit to these fountains more interesting.
All right, let's go to Hanny.
来到新加坡的财富之泉，据说如果你绕着主喷泉底部的小型喷泉走3圈，你的愿望就会实现哦。那课文最后提到说，每一座伟大的喷泉背后都有一个等待被讲述的故事，所以下次当你遇见一座特别的喷泉时，务必要停下来了解它的故事，也许你会有惊喜的发现哦。好，文中用到 be sure to 加上原形动词，就是说务必要做某事的意思。这边还有2个重点，第一个重点是 if 引导条件句，表示可能发生的情况。在指未来情况时 if 子句的动词要用现在式代替未来式，那句型会是 if 主词加上动词，逗号主词加上 will、can 或是 may 加原形动词，或者是可以用 if 主词加动词，逗号祈使句。我们看2个例句，第一个例句是 If we don't hurry, we will miss the flight. 如果不快一点，我们会错过班机。那再来第二个例句是 If you feel sleepy, go take a nap. 如果你觉得困，就去小睡一下吧。第二个重点是 come across 的不同意思及用法。第一个意思，它可以表达偶然发现、无意间看到、碰见，是做及物用。例如 He came across an old friend at the party. 他在派对上遇到一位老朋友。那第二个，我们可以在 come across 后面接 as 加上名词或形容词，来表现出怎么样的样子，给人什么样的印象，让人觉得怎么样怎么样。例如 She came across as a very intelligent person. 她给人的印象是个非常聪明的人。好，那接回到课文中。
All right, we do have a what do you think question here at the end. So, which of the fountains in the article would you most like to visit, Kiki?
Well, I've lived in Singapore for a very long time. I grew up there. So I used to see the Fountain of Wealth all the time when we went to the supermarket.
Okay.
So it was a very normal thing. But I think the turtle fountain, that one sounds the most interesting to me because I've never heard of it. I mean, we've heard of the Trevi Fountain before, and I've seen lots of pictures, but Turtle Fountain is one that I find very interesting. And I think the lore, the story of him saying that it needs to be built overnight, that's very interesting. So I'd like to see that. What about you, Matt?
Well, I think I've seen the Trevi Fountain, and I'm pretty sure I saw the Turtle Fountain, and I've also seen the Fountain of Wealth in Singapore. So the only one that I haven't seen is the Mannequin Piss in Brussels, and so I would like to visit that one because I've never been to Brussels, and also I just think it's an interesting fountain, and even more interesting now that I know the story behind it.
Wow, you've gone to a lot of fountains. Well, let's review the article again, and we'll see you next time.
In the city of Brussels, Belgium, you can find another widely celebrated fountain, the Mannequin Piss. The fountain depicts a young boy who is relieving himself into a pool below. One story says the fountain honors Duke Godfrey III. In 1142, soldiers placed the 2-year-old Duke in a basket in an oak tree during a battle. From there, he urinated on the enemy troops, who later lost the fight. Therefore, the fountain is said to celebrate that victory. Of course, Europe isn't the only continent with famous fountains. The Fountain of Wealth in Singapore was once the largest in the world. Unlike the other fountains, this one has a modern design and represents unity and fortune. It is said that if you walk around the miniature fountain at the base of the main fountain 3 times, your wishes will come true. Behind every great fountain is a tale that is waiting to be told. So next time you come across a special fountain, be sure to stop and learn about its story. Who knows what you might discover?
最后，我们来复习今天课文里的单字文法。单字的部分有 honor 是动词，表示向什么致敬、赞扬或公开表彰。Oak 名词，表示橡树、橡木。Troop 是名词，它表示军队或是部队。Continent 也是名词，表示洲、大陆。Unity 也是名词，表示团结、联合或一致。文法的部分，我们第一个学到主词 be said to 加上原形动词，可以表达据说怎么样。这个句型也可以改写成 It is said that 主词加动词。好，第二个重点学到 if 引导条件句，表示可能发生的情况时，在指未来情况时 if 子句的动词要用现在式代替未来式。那句型会是 if 主词加动词，逗号，主词加上 will、can 或是 may 加原形动词，或者是可以用 if 主词加动词，逗号，祈使句。接下来我们学到的是 come across 的不同意思及用法。首先，它可以表达偶然发现、无意间看到、碰见，是做及物用。另外一个用法则是在 come across 后面接 as 加上名词或形容词，去表现出什么的样子，给人什么的印象，让人觉得怎么样怎么样。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Hey, it's Kiwi on the street.
I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie. And today we're doing laundry.
Hey, it's a good opportunity to talk about different types of clothing fabric.
A lot of people think that if you say, oh, I have a flannel shirt, it kind of has like this plaid design, but actually what you're talking about is the material that is flannel material. So it's thicker, it's warmer. Okay, we have one of my favorites. Yours too, actually.
Yes.
Some denim.
It's very, very durable. So a lot of people wear them to work.
Yeah. And last but not least, we have actually several options. We have chiffon, which is actually a personal favorite of ours.
It gives a casual look, but also kind of smart casual. So even if you went to a meeting, a business
dress it
meeting,
up.
right. Well, today we learned about lots of different types of fabrics, and different people have different preferences. Some feel that one type would be more comfortable on their body.
That is true. Well, that is all we have for today. Please follow us on Instagram and send us a DM or an email if there's something you want to say in English, but you just don't know how. Kiki, do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't think we're supposed to fold silk.
Kiwi later!